Hi guys, another quick funny story if you'll allow me. I just tried to tell it when I was driving back from Co-op from doing my essential shopping. It actually took me 15 minutes to tell a story, so I'm actually going to try and tell it a little bit more quickly and be a bit more succinct, because that'll take me about the rest of my life to upload it on any media platform whatsoever. So yeah, this one involves Marsh Harrier juveniles again, and I hadn't realised that until I said it out loud. So yeah, that might well be my bogey bird, funnily enough. So yeah, I used to work nights, so this was an ideal time. This was late July, and I decided I was going to make a hide out of natural material. There was a large expanse of grass that had been cut down for hay, long grass that had been cut down for hay or straw making. And I thought, well, if I pile that up before I go to work, the following morning when I finish work, I can climb underneath it, tripod and whatever, and camera pointing out of it, lay there, get some shots, because I'd observed the juvenile marsh harriers in that area quite frequently. So, well executed plan. I even asked my colleague if they'd relieve me in the morning at 6 o'clock instead of 7, so I could get there earlier. I piled up the grass on the way to work, so that I was already in going. I wouldn't be disturbing any wildlife. So a perfectly executed plan. So I got there. I was full ghillie suit, so the headgear that covers your face and the jacket, trousers, the lot. So I climbed in there. Must have been, let's say, 25 past 6. I reckon, maybe 20 past 6 in the morning. Details. And set up, camera out. I thought, this is it. This is perfect. I wasn't too close. I'd disturb the birds. I was at perfect range to do what I needed to do without any disturbance. Because I'd worked a night shift, I was tired. Because it was the end of July, it was warm. Because I was wearing a ghillie suit, I was extra cosy. So I reckon I was awake for all of 5 minutes, I reckon, before I was out like a light. So I didn't take any photos of any birds. I fell asleep. So the next thing I actually remember is this rumbling noise, and you know when you're sort of between asleep and awake and you're not really sure if that's part of the dream, part of reality. I went through that phase for a couple of seconds. I thought, where am I? It was dark, so I had a hood on and I was laying under this grass, and then I realised that literally the ground was rumbling, and it was a reality, and I recalled where I was. So I jumped up, and grass was strewn everywhere. Long grass was strewn everywhere. My camera and my tripod went flying. I didn't know which way to look, which way to turn, which way I was facing. Because the cover over my eyes, I couldn't really see. So I sort of unveiled myself like a Scooby-Doo villain. And there was a tractor that was probably no further than 20 feet away. And that's not an exaggeration, it was close. With rotor blades like that on both sides of it, turning over the long grass to help it dry out, to separate it and dry it out, because obviously it was for straw or hay or whatever. So I jumped up, absolutely pooping my pants. The tractor driver, God only knows what he thought about it all. He jammed on, and I seem to remember him reversing probably about 10 feet. Just by being sheerly startled by this huge Scooby-Doo villain jumping out of the grass. I'm sure he would have been looking for Jeremy Beadle or any one of his counterparts, whatever. Can't think of the word. Anyway, I had to go and explain to this guy what I was doing, why I was there, and apologise sincerely for, well, putting the wind up him, basically. Yes, that wasn't a good thing. My legs had gone to jelly. I sort of gathered up my camera equipment and meekly shuffled towards the edge of the field with my tail between my legs. I couldn't climb back over the gate of the field because my legs, like I say, were shot to jelly, and I just leant up against the gate on the floor and just cried. Because although it's a funny story now, obviously then it was a near-death experience probably. So the only funny part would have been, really, you'd have heard this story in the papers, and the headlines with a surname like Bale kind of would have written themselves, don't you think? So Funny story, yes. Lucky, yes. Don't try this at home, kids. It's probably why I haven't got a Marsh Harrier photo that I'm proud of yet, because I've kind of given up, even though they've dictated a lot of things in my life. Shall I tell you one bit funny thing that come on after that? A couple of years later, me, my wife and my daughter were at Silby Nature Reserve, and there's only one little place to park a car, a little lay-by in the side of a lane to park a car there, and we were having a picnic. It was glorious, no other people around, lovely weather, one of those idyllic settings that we often used to go to. And about mid-afternoon, heard this sort of crackling noise, and we could hear the tractor rumbling up down the lane. And I said, oh, that was the windscreen of the car, jokingly. Anyway, about an hour later, we got back to the car, and the passenger side, the driver's side window had been put through by a stone or a stick or whatever, and the tractor was at the bottom of the road. So I went down and I spoke to the driver, and he said, oh, you the Fiat Panda owner from the top. He goes, sorry about that. He said, something flicked out the hedge. I've spoken to my boss, they'll cover the expense of getting it repaired. It's one of those things that happen, but I've been waiting around here to find out so I could speak to you face to face. That's really good of you. And I looked at him and I said, you don't recognise me, do you, mate? And he was like, no. And I said, do you remember a couple of years ago, some idiot jumped out in front of your tractor from a pile of grass with his camera? And he was like, ah. Yeah, and that was him. So it took him a couple of years to exact his revenge, but he did put my car window through to get me back. We had a bit of a laugh about it. Anyway, never boring in this wildlife photography, is it? I'll leave you there because I've probably gone enough for another 15 minutes. I can't help myself. But anyway, you guys stay safe. Look after yourselves. Look after your loved ones. We'll get through this. Strange times. But yeah, take care, and I'll catch up with you soon. All the very best.